Hi everyone, the game we are analyzing today comes from the 1966 Chess Olympiad that took place in Havana, Cuba in 1966. The Soviet team took their 8th consecutive gold title at this Olympiad. Before we go through the analysis, please don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more games like this. Fischer played white and his opponent who played black was Jacek Bednarski, a Polish international master. The game went into the Najdorf, so e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes e4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, a6, bishop c4. For a number of years, this was Fischer's favorite way of playing against the Najdorf. That's one of the reasons that today this is called the Fischer's attack variation of the Najdorf. e6, the move that is almost forced in order to at least temporarily weaken the light-squared bishop. In my video on Fischer versus the Philippine prodigy Rodolfo Cardozo, I discussed the ideas of this variation in greater detail. I will leave a link for that game in the description. In that game, Fischer played castle kingside. Here, Fischer played the most popular move for white in this variation, which is bishop b3. The two best ways of playing in this position are b5 and bishop bd7. Bednarski played bishop bd7. The idea behind this move is to play knight c5 to attack the b3 bishop and the e4 pawn. f4. This is a thematic move in this opening with the idea of playing f5 because Fischer has to do something about the light-squared bishop biting on granite. Knight c5. Now the e4 pawn is being attacked twice and being defended only once. But black needs to be extra careful about grabbing that pawn. Fischer played f5, but some of the other moves that can be played in this position are e5, queen f3, or castle kingside. f5. So what Fischer is doing is ignoring the idea of defending his e4 pawn and proceeding with the attack. Knight f takes e4. Bednarski should have played bishop e7 instead. By taking the pawn, he is playing a dangerous game, and really he's giving Fischer the advantage. Fischer played correctly with f takes e6, and in this position, Bednarski played queen h4 check, which is not a great move, but the only better move is bishop takes e6. However, even that move allows white to have a significantly better position. Let's take a look at bishop takes e6. Bishop takes e6, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes e6, f takes e6. The e6 pawn is not defended, but taking with the knight, knight takes e6, loses to queen h4 check, and then after g3, knight takes g3. So in that position, the queen h4 check move actually works. Castle kingside, now the e6 pawn does need to be defended. Queen b6, pinning the knight from taking the pawn. Queen f3, letting black capture the knight, but white has a plan. Queen takes d4, bishop e3, attacking the queen, and no matter how black plays, white will retain a decent advantage over black. So if black tries queen d5, attempting to hold on to the knight, we have queen f7 check, king d8, bishop b6 check, king c8, queen c7 checkmate. If black tries something different, say knight g5, counterattacking the queen, we have queen h5 check, g6, bishop takes d4, attacking the rook, g takes h5, bishop takes h8. White has an extra pawn worth of material. Black's h pawns are very weak. It's a winning endgame for white. Another attempt is queen takes b2. So queen takes b2, queen f7 check, king d8, and here we have a wonderful move, rook a b1, attacking the queen and gaining control over the b6 square for the bishop. Black has to give up the queen or face checkmate. Note also that queen c3 does not work because we have bishop b6 check, king c8, and then queen e8 checkmate. Black's best attempt is probably queen f6, and here we have queen takes e4, attacking the queen, queen e6 in order to protect the e6 pawn, rook f2. White is going to double the rooks on the f file. Black's bishop and h8 rook are doing next to nothing. Also, Black's king is too unsafe, unable to castle kingside, and it would be too dangerous to castle queenside. White is better despite being a pawn down. Now, let's take a look at queen h4 check, the move that was actually played. Queen h4 check. This might look scary, but is perfectly fine for white. Fischer responded with g3. Obviously, Fischer anticipated the possibility that Bednarski would play knight takes g3, in which case h takes g3 would not work because the h2 pawn is pinned and the h1 rook is undefended. But there is a technique here to defend white's position. After Bednarski played knight takes g3, Fischer responded with knight f3, attacking the queen. Now, any knight move with a discovered attack on the white king will result in knight takes h4. So Bednarski played queen h5, and now Fischer has the chance to prevent the black king from ever being able to castle, and that's what Fischer did with e takes f7. The bishop is protecting the f7 pawn. King d8, rook g1, and now the knight is really being attacked. Knight f5, moving the knight to safety. Knight d5, improving the position of the knight. From d5, the knight eyes several important squares, including f4, to attack the queen, and more or less trap the queen, because after queen h6, there's the idea of knight e6 check, with a discovered attack on the queen by the dark squared bishop. And if the queen takes on e6, we have bishop takes e6, winning the queen. Queen takes f7, bishop g5 check, and black does not have any good moves here. King d7 results in knight b6 check, forking the king and the rook. Bishop e7 loses to knight takes e7, opening up a discovered attack on the queen. Bednarski played king e8. Here, knight f6 simply wins the queen due to the discovered attack by the light squared bishop. But Fischer decides on something even more decisive than this. Fischer played queen e2 check, bishop e6, the bishop is pinned. What do we do to a pin piece? We attack the pin piece, and that's what Fischer did here as well. Knight f4, king d7, getting out of the pin and protecting the e6 bishop. Castle queenside, queen e8, bishop takes e6 check, knight takes e6, queen e4, attacking the undefended knight and the undefended b7 pawn. g6, defending the knight. Here Fischer takes the e6 knight, knight takes e6, and black cannot take the knight back. Bednarski resigned here because queen takes e6 results in queen takes b7 check, king e8, rook ge1, and the queen is lost. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.